delineation days. I couldn't see the conjunction this morning. I'm going to have to look for it tonight. They've been spraying the heck out of us, and so I couldn't see it. Drew in the clouds, so I was looking forward to it, but I figured that, like so many other places around the country and probably the world, they wanted to cover that up. They want to know about it because it's a signal for their plans, um, but they don't like us necessarily, appreciating what's happening. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about astrology or any of that. In the description box below is a link to David Knight's Periscope broadcast this morning. As you all know, Alex fired him last week over his stand against Trump and some other things, which David gets into to some extent towards the end of this Periscope that's in the link in the description box below. But please go and subscribe to him. And when he gets his podcast going, I'm not sure where he's going to do it. I'm sure that Periscope and Twitter are not going to let him stay there saying what he's saying, so he's going to have to come up with another system. But go ahead and follow him, and if you can find it in your heart to make him your regular news source and support him in his effort, and he has apparently a Patreon account or PayPal or something. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but you can find out there. I did want to bring up a point that he made during his broadcast that to me was the most significant about Alex Jones, and that's the title of this video. And what it was he said that Alex and he had a meeting in the break room at Infowars when they were sure that Trump was going to get the presidency in 2016. I don't know if it was right before the election was actually conducted. It sounded like it was in maybe late October, but it could have been, after the election itself. But apparently, Alex, according to David, came into the break room and they had a discussion, and Alex asked him, what he's up to, and basically David said, well, I'm still going to continue the reporting that we agreed upon when I first came on, that no matter what party's in power, we're going to hold their feet to the fire, that they have to support the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and liberty in general, no matter who's in power. And apparently Alex asked David, well, what about Trump? How are you going to handle Trump? And David said, in the same way. If he does a good thing, I'll give him credit for it. But if he strays off the Constitution and the perfect law of liberty, et cetera, I'm going to call him out on it. And David said that all Alex did is look at him, I guess shook his head and said, oh, okay, something like that, and walked away. Which tells me that Alex knew the program that Trump was going to be on in some way prior to all this coming out. And then his complete surrender to Trump and everything Trump. Since then, people say, well, he's called out Trump. Not really. No, he hasn't. So a lot of people have talked about AJ being Mossad or, tied in with the CIA, Stratfor and all that. I have no proof of that, quite the opposite, actually. But for reasons of survival, as I've said before, for fear, whatever, acceptance by the majority of his followers, listeners, somehow AJ knew that they were going to have to support Trump no matter what Trump did while he was in office, even if he went against everything that David Knight said that Infowars should stand for. To me, that was out of David Knight talked about the whole thing, the rollout of Operation Warp Speed and this entire thing that's happening. And he gave a lot of good information, updates on that this morning. But knowing what he said about Alex Jones in that meeting in the break room, and David Knight doesn't lie. He doesn't put out extravagant stories as far as, magnifying reality. He's pretty straightforward and analytical. And that to me told me that Alex knew where this was going early on, which would explain why Trump came on his show that very first time, and Trump said that he would do very well by Alex and Alex's followers, and that they would be real happy with his conduct, which almost seems like a post hypnotic suggestion to me because I haven't been happy at all. But a lot of people who think that Trump is their savior and their God and the only hope that they have, which apparently includes Alex at this point, um, that's probably true. Well, Trump's the last person I'm looking toward for any kind of salvation. He's proven that he's not up to that. Quite the opposite. Yeah, AJ's probably one of them, at least at this point, as a matter of survival or out of fear, if he wasn't all along. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up this morning, primarily to give you the link to David's show. I posted it on the community board. If you look on my header on my channel here, you go to community and click on that, and you'll see my posts. I put that up there so that you would know. But I wanted to come on here and give this morning because out of any report, I mean, Tucker Carlson is great, but he's still mainstream and has his hands tied on a few things. Although I've been really impressed by the way Tucker has come out. But David Knight is the real deal. I think he's proven that time and time again. And now he's been persecuted by the system from the very top. I'm going to tell you, from the very top. And Alex was the guillotine to David. Okay? So see what you can do to support him. I've got to keep driving here, but I just wanted to come on and let you all know how I feel about it and point out that situation with Alex in the break room at Infowars with David in 2016. Apparently knowing where Trump was going to go, and he expected David to support Trump in everything. And David said, no, I'll call him out when I need to. So we're actually quite amazed that David lasted this long. Okay. Go to his podcast when it comes on. Go right now to the link in there. Listen to his broadcast from this morning on Periscope, on Twitter, and let's get him up on a podcast where he can be totally independent for as long as possible. Okay. By the way, somebody was saying, well, if he was so great, why was he on Infowars? Well, when you talk about the things that David Knight does, even back when he first got on Infowars, nobody else would have had David on their program, not the MSM and not even most alternate medias. So Infowars was the best springboard for him. My brother, who was the Army news chief at the Pentagon, very professional, postgraduate degrees in communications and all that, said, hi, Nancy, good morning. Said that David Knight was the finest journalist that he knew of, has known of, let's put it that way. And my brother had contact with lots of real news people, okay? So I just want to let you know that. And I support David 100%. So go support him. Let's hope that he can get his podcast up and going quickly. We need that sane, intelligent, logical, spiritual hero out there, just like Nancy. Nancy's another spiritual, knowledgeable, intellectual hero. I know she knows that I feel that way about her. She's been it's kind of amazing. She's put up with me when a lot of others haven't, given me encouragement and all of that. I've had some other people that I was following. She knows the story. People in very significantly influential places who actually, when I stood up for myself and refused to give Trump a bow, they unfollowed me and even blocked me. And she came to my defense and said they weren't worth your time anyway. So God bless you, Nancy. All right. God bless you, and thanks for being my friend, even though we've never met. Talked on the phone, DM'd, texted, those types of things. But maybe one of these days, right? And say hello to your family. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. I'll be up to give you a more formal Christmas message, very short one, in a few days. But just to let you know, I'm not going to get into all the other subject matter, Dominion and all that. All of this is, we're getting attacked from all sides. There's so much misinformation, disinformation. I even blocked General Flynn this morning. I had one of his followers come on and try to tell me uh, how I'm supposed to think and act and all this stuff. And he well, he wasn't the only one. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but General Flynn is no longer a hero for me. I see what he's doing, and I'm beginning to think that he was all part of the theatrical drama that was put on. Okay, I don't believe anything he says anymore. He's the superior evil intelligence that we're dealing with, wherever it is. I saw some information that Dr. X sent me the other day about what's going on in Antarctica. I don't know about that. I'm not one of I haven't been following the Antarctic thing very much. I know about all the legends and all the suspicions, but I saw what Dr. X had me go look at, and I was pretty alarmed. Let me put it that way. What in the hell was the Secretary of State John Kerry doing down there, and all these other world leaders? What's going on down there? Something big is happening, and it's all being executed right now. And so we need to we need to keep our eyes and ears open and pray for inspiration and understanding, and most of all, we do have to love one another. We do have to love one another. That's a fact. That's the only way to get through this. Um, but they plan on culling us instead of promoting our way of filling the universe, which was what we were really supposed to do. However you view that, God's plan. This evil force has entered into us and has their representatives in here in mass now. So here we go. Okay, I'm getting a message from somebody. I've got to get some. I go take a look at that. You all take care, and again, thanks for being here. Subscribe to Nancy. Subscribe to David Knight, and I'll talk to you all later out here.